Is your spin class too white? According to the Washington Post, the answer is yes. Folks, let me just say before I get into this here that I, like many of you, am so sick of everything being connected to race. The liberals make everything about race, even things that you would never think to associate or link to racism in any way whatsoever. I mean, it's like, I ate some asparagus and a burger for dinner last night. That's racist. What? I mean, some things you're accused of being racist for, and you're, honest to God, you're left for like 5 or 10 minutes afterwards, scratching your head, thinking to yourself, how is that racist? Did I miss something here? What's going on? Everything to the left is seen through the eyes of race. That's just the way it is. Everything is seen black and white, black and white. Here, perfect example. This is a headline from Breitbart.com. Washington Post argues that spin classes are too thin and too white. Now, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who don't go to the gym, spin classes are those classes that they have in the studios where everyone gets on one of those little bikes and they're all pedaling and so on and so forth. That's a spin class. And this idiot from the Washington Post is arguing that these classes are too white. It's so ridiculous. A column in the Washington Post this week argues that American spin classes are filled with too many white and thin participants. Gee, let's think for a minute. Why are there so many thin, skinny people in spin classes? Maybe because, I don't know, they're working out, they're exercising. The messaging, says yoga teacher Jessamine Stanley, is essentially, now listen to this, you're allowed in this space if you are white, slender, able-bodied, and less than 45, cisgender, and heterosexual. And if you're not, then you're not welcome. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does any of this relate to spin classes? What the hell does being straight or gay have to do with a spin class? What the hell does, being black or white have to do with a spin class, for God's sakes? And see, this is exactly what I mean. The liberals connect everything to race. And if it's not race, they connect it to gender. And if it's not gender, they connect it to sexual orientation. And so on and so forth. Stanley was interviewed as a part of Washington Post columnists, I don't even know how to pronounce this, Lavanya Ramanathan. I'll spell it out for you. Ramanathan. And her recent piece entitled, Is Your Spin Class Too Young, Too Thin, and Too White? Which focuses on the lack of diversity in America's spin classes. Lack of diversity in America's spin classes. All right, 2 points to make here. 2 points to make, both of which are going to be very, very upsetting to the left and the politically correct crowd. First of all, is there any evidence, statistical evidence, facts to back up that claim? That America's spin classes are predominantly white. I looked at the original piece written by this Lavanya whatever, and she does not cite any statistics whatsoever. No facts to back up her claim, no studies, no research, nothing. In other words, this assertion that spin classes are too white, consists of mostly whites, is coming straight out of her noggin, which, in my opinion, is pretty empty. Second point I want to make. Even if we accept the premise, for the sake of discussion, that yes, the majority of spin classes in America consists of whites, who cares? Who cares? Yes, what if they're predominantly white? What if they are, predominantly heterosexuals, cisgenders? I'm not even quite sure what that means, by the way. There's all this asexual and cisgender, and Jason, you're being ignorant. Well, my point is, even if spin classes are everything that this idiot from the Washington Post says they are, even if there is, a lack of diversity, who cares? Why is that a problem? There are many other institutions that are predominantly black. There are some institutions that are predominantly white. There are some institutions that have more gays than straights. I mean, what's the problem with that? There are some institutions that have more liberals than conservatives. There are some institutions that have more conservatives than liberals. People are individuals. They do what they want to do. They participate in things that they want to participate in. They don't participate in things that they don't want to participate in. What's the problem with that?